Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again. I'm here once more with Dr. Patrick MacManaway, and today we're going to be taking you through an exercise which is called Resonance and Connection. Hello, Patrick.
Sarah, hello. Lovely to be with you again here today.
Resonance and Connection. What's this all about?
So, following up from our Grace and Blessings chat, which is sort of the 101, I think that this would be a sort of a 102 core skills exercise that we're going to demonstrate with you sitting there comfortably at your desk, and therefore that anybody wanting to try this at home can literally do that with things immediately around them. So it's a very simple exercise. It's a very available exercise. What we're looking to do here, Sarah, is to create discernment about our own resonance and our own energetic bubble and edge. The degree to which we are fully sovereign and entirely of our own resonance, or the degree to which we're connected with other things, other people and circumstances, or if we're merged, so that we've really become one with another person or another thing or project, at least for a period of time, where we're literally sharing thoughts and feelings, or whether we're in what we would call group mind or collective mind, which we see in pots, dolphins, shells of fish, flocks of birds, where there's a sort of single guiding principle that everybody's following.
Yeah.
Now, you can be in group mind and fully sovereign. It's a sort of a merge in a way, but it's different from a merge in as much as you're still acting as yourself, but you are acting in concert or cooperation as, for example, players on a team with sports, or rowers in a boat pulling oars together.
Yeah.
So these sort of 3 or 4 different states, if we can bring awareness to how we are with those that we're with, huge amount of useful information and increased effectiveness and competence and power, if we can be aware of which of those states we're in and be able to move at will between them. So that's our sort of key learning in one part, and then the second part of key learning, which we're going to integrate with this, is the awareness of how we meet what we meet, and sort of matching and meeting its tone, so that we have an easy resonance with it. And so we have within us our elemental mix of earth and water and air and fire, and then the landscape surrounding us the same. One of the places that I've learned this in a very focused way was my training and practice of fire walking. To walk on the fire and not be burned, your inner fire has to be at least at the level of intensity and energy of the fire, without literally that you can walk. If your fire energy is at least matching that or bigger than it even, then you walk unburned. If your fire energy is lower than the fire energy on the fire, and you attempt to walk on it, then consequence tends to be distressing and uncomfortable.
Burnt feet.
Right. So, but equally, so we can bring ourselves to a place of intense fire for circumstances like that. We may need to bring ourselves to an intense place of water to hold witness for a friend or a child. We can move around almost like a graphic equalizer or a tone and brightness and volume control. we can move our internal elemental energy to perfectly meet our circumstances. And so that's our sort of, again, a very important fundamental skill to acquire in observing oneself, and to discover that one can, with awareness and intention, change that. We sort of do this automatically all the time, all through the day. But I think just bringing awareness to it and realizing how much control we have over it gives an increased sense of power and confidence and ability to meet the world in a successful.
Yeah, it's making it more conscious, isn't it?
It's really just making it more conscious.
Yeah. Well, I've got some, you've asked me to get together some intriguing bits. There's a bowl of water. There's a lovely great lump of rock. I've got a piece of wood and a plant. So, I mean,
okay,
to see what we're going to do.
Lovely. Well, we'll...
And actually, that's the point, actually. Anybody listening in who maybe wants to join in with us as we do this, they could stop the video and just go off and find themselves a stone, a piece of wood of some sort, a bowl of water and a plant, and then come back and start again with us. And join in.
Join in. Do it live.
Yeah.
And then keep on doing it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So this is an exercise that you recommend we practice and practice and practice.
Yes, I think what you'll see is once you get the hang of it, you can do it sort of all the time, anytime, anywhere. And the more you do it, the more helpful it is.
Yeah.
So it's sort of just a life skill, really, that we can put in our pocket and carry along.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay.
All right. So here we go. So we're going to start using Saira as our guinea pig here. The audience assembles, and thank you, Saira, for being willing to
yes, I step forward.
expose your aura on the screen here. So we want to get Saira first into a peaceful, centered place where she's got quiet, undistracted thoughts. And so we're going to just let her take a moment and let go of whatever tensions or distractions, glitches with technology, events of the day, just to come into a fully peaceful present moment and let all other concerns rest in their places until you're able to pick them up again in due course. But meanwhile, for your mind to just simply be present and still and focused on the task at hand. And allowing awareness to arise from the heart at the center of awareness. And for the mind to curiously look to see what the heart's going to fill it with next. And then in that also having awareness that the boundaries around and within us are being naturally redefined and renewed and refreshed and reset every time the heart beats. And so we can sit and look at the ripples around the stone of our center in the pond of our environment and milieu. You just notice that the heart is creating a perfect true body of thought and consciousness electromagnetically in our spherical toroidal field, and that we can override that with our thoughts and our mind and our intentions. But as and when we need to, we can simply withdraw thought and intention and allow the heart to refresh the space, almost like the tide coming back in over a beach that's been trodden with many happy feet. And as the tide goes out, the sound is left clear and fresh without previous pattern, available to be repatterned with new thought and action. over and over again. So our agenda here now is to ask Sarah to eyes open, eyes closed, doesn't matter. We want her to connect and bring her attention and focus to the plant on her desk there.
Yes.
Does the plant have a name?
No, it doesn't. Maybe it should. Maybe it will after this.
All right. Sarah, I don't know, can you move your video just a little downwards so we can see a little more of the plant? There we go.
That's as far as it will go.
I think that looks pretty good. So what we want you to do is just to create a heart-to-heart connection with the plant, just as a witness of two beings present alive on the planet together.
So let's just open the heart and connect to the plant.
Open the heart, connect to the plant. And our exercise is going to take us through full independent sovereignty, connection, merge, group mind, and back to sovereignty, just so we can track that, but also first, just in resonating with the plant, allow your energy body to come to perfectly match that resonance. It's not as dense as the chair you're sitting on. It's not as dense as the rock that we'll work with later. It's got its own sort of balance of lightness and denseness and wateriness and earthiness and airiness and fieriness, and we want just to bring our own balance into rapport with that. That looks like you're right about it there. Does that feel about there? So just for practice and out of curiosity, lighten up a little bit more. Bring yourself a little bit more resonant with the air around it. And just notice how that feels, both in yourself and how it feels in your connection to the plant. And then go the other way, Sarah. Go a little deeper and more intense, more towards earth than the plant, down the other end of, or just the other side of the scale point of the plant down. And again, just notice, that's lovely, what that feels like in yourself and how that affects the relationship with the plant. And then, bring yourself back to plant balance until it feels like you and the plant are sort of humming the same note, as it were.
It's a very beautiful feeling.
What did you observe in terms of the connection when you were more than, less than elemental balance point?
First of all, I feel the plant inside me. It's like it's thrumming in my veins. As I took my awareness down the plant, there was a sense of being more rooted. How to describe it? Sort of, it was like, because everything seems to become firmer, slightly heavier, not heavy, but slightly heavier than it was up here. It felt very light and dancing, very light and dancing, beautifully. And there's a very real sense of flow, backwards and forwards. I'm not on my own within my energy field, if that makes sense.
No, you're in a merge place.
Yeah.
And let's just, so the two things we're tracking is that elemental balance and resonance. And so clearly that's there, and you've got that established from the heart. And just allow a little more of that merge. It's sort of an overlap, as we would in an intimate partnership. Perhaps with animals, with children, with close friends. It's really a sharing of energy. There's a nakedness and a vulnerability to it, to a varying degree, depending on who and what and context, obviously. So this isn't something that we want to do just randomly at any time and without it being appropriate. It's sort of more than is appropriate in the majority of sort of social and professional situations. But when it's appropriate, we do want to be able to fully merge consciousness with another being, and just really have the experience of their experience, so that we can know each other and relate more respectfully and knowledgeably with everything that we share. So lovely though this is, and timeless though it is, because time is plantless, or plants are timeless, or not truly, but in human terms. We're going to move you out of that space, and we're going to ask that with full gratitude and respect and lovingly, you disconnect yourself from the plant and become two sovereign, independent, non-merged beings, sharing space, but wholly in your own mind, in your own energy. The plant is there, but you're fully within yourself and your own bubble in the plant, in return to being fully itself and its own bubble. Now, what did you? I think you're there. How does that feel? So
It feels a shame, actually.
I know. How lovely is that? It's okay. You can do this after we're finished. Once we're off video, you can do plant merging.
Yes, it's just wonderful. It's a lovely sense of being. Being. Just really very serene. It was a bit of an effort to pull back.
It can be an effort to pull back, and it's good to bring ourselves back and not leave ourselves around in the environment.
I could see how people could actually get quite addicted to going around.
Well, or make it central to your life.
Yeah.
But so just make sure that your core is central, and that your heart ripples are defining just Saira space. And we can meet and touch anything at our boundaries. We're not making the plant go away or dismissing it. We're just withdrawing our attention into our own space and allowing it to be as it is, peacefully there. And now let's just try and establish independent connection, almost like a telephone connection. And that's just sort of a point of contact, which can either feel like reaching a thread or a rainbow out, heart to heart, and then communicating across that. Or it can feel more like a point of contact at the boundary, almost like a handshake. The edge of it to the edge of you, but allowing a connected intimacy, but not a merge. So we just want to move into a space of independence, but connection, and get familiar with that. And we want to be in here if we were doing the garden management. We want them to be able to tell us if they need compost or water or sunlight, or any kind of different circumstance or management in how you're receiving, without necessarily having to become rifmatos. You need to at least know when and what they need for their optimum growth and nourishment. So we want to be able to easily have this level of just sort of chat and communication, one-to-one, as it were. How does that one feel, Sarah?
That's great. It needs some water.
There you go. That was easy. And now, third
He has, gardening. This to be able to do this is going to be so useful.
Yes, and obviously with any kind of land management, small or large, because as well as doing this with the plant spirits, we can do it with the animal, the water, the soil biology, the spirit of place. We're just learning to connect with them anything in a loving and self-aware way that's respectful and allows hopefully clear communication and harmony to arise. So Sarah, without increasing your connection, or even maybe just dropping that connection again for now so you can experience this differently. There you go. So you're just sitting there next to the plant now.
Mm-hmm.
And now allow your mind to enter what we would call this group mind, or collective consciousness of spider plant in this case. So that you become aware of the sort of collective spider plantedness and able to share concerns and awareness of that level. Now, tell us what that feels like.
It feels very expansive.
It's very expansive.
It's going out and out and out and out.
There's an awful lot of spider plants.
Just in this house. That's the only thing I managed to do well with.
Well, you and the rest of us, and so it really is it's a plant that lives well with people.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I have an awareness of it's like there's an overarching spirit for all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
so group mind, group soul, collective consciousness, whatever language we put onto that. It's a sort of universal, eternal life force that, like Santa Claus, shows up in every form, in every place. All right. So, awareness, again, with gratitude and respect and thanks, and then you can re-enter that one time, or indeed be available for being invited to enter by the spider plant collective. But just for now, withdrawing fully into your own space, releasing connections. We'll keep their mobile phone number in our contact. So again, we're just closing a conversation. We're not dismissing anything. We need to make sure we're in our space to manage our humanness while we are
It feels very much like you're making yourself less than by pulling back in again, rather than this awareness of being part of something greater.
Yes.
Mm.
And it's one of those eternal sliding scale backwards and forwards. I think if we're entirely focused on ourselves, our lives look one way. If we're entirely boundaryless and giving of ourselves, our life looks another way. There can be problems with both of those. It's really, as I say, I think we're doing this consciously or unconsciously sort of all the time, but to be able to know awarely and moving in and out of it is. I had a spot in one of the places that I lived in the woods in Vermont, where a rather strong and beautiful lay dragon energy ran across our driveway, and we were in the middle of mixed woods, quite a bit of maple, ash, birch. Anyway, I happened to find that if I stood just at this particular spot, this little power center where this line conveniently passed our driveway, I could totally plug into this collective consciousness of the forest.
Oh, wow. So a ley line potentially, or an earth energy line potentially, makes it easier to do that?
It does. It does. It's like the socket in the wall letting you access the wires behind it, where the yin currents meet the yang currents, gives you a power center and a vertical connection, plug into the horizontal network also. So, but just I would go and get my top up there, Saira, 15 or 20 minutes every evening, and I could take time to do it. It was just it was just lovely to merge with this forest that I was living inside of.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing, because I mean, just this little plant, actually, I just feel like my energy field has filled up, and so just to go for a forest, it must
It's good. It's
good.
We like it.
Is this what the forest bathing, the latest craze, is all about?
Forest bathing. We love the vibrations of trees. All right, let us switch our attention here to our bowl of water.
Okay, bowl of water here.
We're basically going to go and do the
try
same.
And lift it up.
Maybe if you put it to your left on the shelf there, I don't know if there's room, you can see that very clearly.
Yeah. Okay, if I move the plant up there, and we put the bowl there.
There we go. That's perfect. We can, I think so. Bring it just a little closer. Perfect.
There.
That's lovely. That's very good. All right. So just come back to heart center and sort of press refresh. We can think of ourselves as being at a wine and cheese tasting here. So we're just cleansing our palate between cheeses and wines. There we go. Neutral center, just Saira. Beating our heart and breathing our breathings. And so what we want to do first then, Saira, is just bring your attention to the water as we did with the plant, and bring yourself to that elemental point. Now obviously that's all water, and it's watery water, but depending how much you count, we know we're somewhere between 60 and 80% water inside. And so there's a lot of that element in you. You've got air in you as well, which is lighter than that, and then you've got flesh and muscle and bone that's denser than that. So you span a broader spectrum. This is sort of pure elemental connection. And just slightly for our readers to observe, we were looking at independent complex life form when we did the plant. we've moved from nature spirit into elemental level of consciousness. They're interwoven into that, but just into the exercise here. So this is just a pure connection with the elemental vibration of water. There you go. And so just first to notice the difference between that and the brightness, tone, volume of plant connection. Just it's a slightly different barcode, it's a slightly different sort of frequency on the radio. And we want to be able to move between them. I know Sarah's been involved in a lot of water blessing, so we're seeing her in a very familiar space here of giving attention to water. So then, Sarah, from there, let's just do a merge with the water in that bowl, which, depending where it's come from, out of your tap or off your water or out of the puddle at the back of the bike sheds. And particularly when we don't know, we want to merge, when we don't know what's... A merge is a very intimate thing, and so we kind of want people to know that it's safe and appropriate to do that, that we have permission, that it's invited and ethical and appropriate. But also we just sort of want to sort of go a little cautiously, and if it doesn't feel good, withdraw and come back. I don't think we're looking at very polluted water, but we know from Dr. Emoto's lovely pictures and many experiments besides that water carries consciousness, and so we just want to be a little responsible and aware about what we might or might not merge with. How does the merge feel there with that bowl of water in front of you, Sarah?
It feels, I mean, I love being in water, and it feels just like I'm deep under the water, surrounded by it, absolutely enveloped in it. Really refreshing and playful as well, but it's telling me it needs some life energy putting back into it. It's filtered water. It needs some life energy putting back.
Okay. So then again, just with gratitude for that merge and communicating in it, come back to independent Sarah sitting next to a bowl of water. How does that feel there?
Yeah, it's slightly harder boundaries to find because it's like it's coming out of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Just strengthen that core a little bit more, so because it is the mother matrix in that regard, and so there's a sort of womb-like resonance. There we go. That looks like you're distinct. That feels like you're separate from it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then again, just do from there, just notice how that is to be with it, but yourself. Because this is tremendously important, obviously, that we can hold our space while things around us do their own thing. And then let's just make a connection with it, either boundary to boundary handshake or telephone thread. rainbow bridge, golden cord, out from you to connect to it. And again, just sit with that as a comfortable experience. And just share where you're at there, Saira.
So just having a conversation with it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, please do. That's the
It
point.
disappeared off a bit there. Yes, it's just talking to me about how I've made it be, because it's gone through a reverse osmosis process, and it's telling me it needs more vitality, and yeah, yes, it needs blessing or vortexing or something to bring it to more vitality, to be of more benefit. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does totally.
Yeah.
It does totally. And we know in truth from many experiments, including our own, the yield differences in plants when water is fully vital. And the benefit to animals from drinking water that's been brought from a high point of life energy. So that's exactly the kind of communication that we want, because of course we can do that for free.
Yes.
And then enjoy the benefits. Lovely. All right, Saira, just for now, pull back to yourself, because that's obviously an ongoing conversation with the water that's coming into your home life there. And the dialogue can continue. You can offer, suggest to it different strategies. Do you want a flow form? Do you want a vortex? Do you want an aerating bubbler? Do you want a flower of life to sit on? Do you want a lump of quartz in the jug? Add possibilities, and just see if it minds which, and which one seems to bring the highest life force potential.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing, because I immediately go to, well, these are the possibilities: flower of life, vortex, etc., blessing, etc. What I didn't think of was asking the water what it wanted.
There you go. And that's the thing, because if we want it to be a dialogue,
yeah,
and it may just be pleased to have your attention, and whatever you want, please do that. Or it may have some completely different thing that it can put into your mind.
Yeah.
When you sort of hold that connection, but hold your mind in a listening space, and then see what idea or thought or vision or words or ideas come in that way and establish themselves. Yes.
This is quite addictive. I kind of think, as soon as we're finished, I know what I'm doing.
Suddenly the office becomes recreational.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's pull back again from that and just re-establish separate sovereign space, knowing that this conversation will continue at a later time. And now just allow yourself to enter into group mind with water. Again, just doing it kind of slow and cautious, Saira, because you're entering into ocean and river and cloud and subterranean aquifer, and it's holding all the consciousness of the world. So we don't want to fry you here and tsunami you. We just want to give you access to that collective elemental consciousness. And again, I know you've been here and worked with it, but just to give it discerning space and ease and facility to move in and out of it.
And that feels like it takes so many forms, and yet it's the same form as it's. Feeling into misty mountains and brooks and oceans and ponds and
Right. And I think, you know, we can add a lot of blessing in there at a global level. And as with the bowl of water, we can also listen for anything that we're asked or required of as planetary citizens to pull our oar for the collective of that element. All right.
That's different.
Pull you back from the misty mountains.
Yeah, it's very different to the plant. Well, it's not very different, but there's a different, it's expansive again, but it's somehow in a different, I don't know, very difficult to describe.
Right. I think it's what we talk about, a dimension or a vibrational plane or a level of consciousness. I think the most familiar is the radio frequencies. We can jump between channels, and they're all close to each other and they overlap.
Yeah, but it's quite distinct to the plant. Yeah.
Very. All right. So come out of that completely and bring yourself back to between wines and cheesies.
Okay.
There we go. Lovely.
Yep.
And now we have a wooden item. We have an item of wood. Yeah.
Literally.
Behold the stick. Behold the stick beheld.
Yeah. So this
Lovely.
is picked up from the field outside.
Right. So this is obviously bean animated plant. Now we're looking at something that has elemental structure, but probably limited independent consciousness. But it's still going to tie us into the collective, which in this case probably won't be too much different from spider plant. If we were to do this, if people do this at home, say with a wooden ornament, when you enter into the collective consciousness, you'll probably find yourself in the consciousness of the craftspeople who made the table or carved the ornament or did the inlay or like that. But this is nice and simple, and it'll be a very nice moving down the scale from the water. So again, if you just bring...
So you could, like, there's a wooden piece of furniture here, you could go into that consciousness.
The table itself is good. I've surprised myself tuning into an ornamental side table that was just a table, an inconvenient one. But when I was doing this process with a client here, we tuned into this little table, and we found ourselves in this collective of craftspeople, and the art of the turning of the legs and the inlay and the polishing. And suddenly it became more than just a piece of furniture. It was a piece of craft, because of the wisdom, this body of wisdom and knowledge and talent and skill, and quite mind-blowing. So we can definitely do that. Again, we always want to be just careful of the boundaries of what we're opening ourselves to, because particularly things that are unknown maybe, have content that we're unaware of. So try it at home, but be cautious about trying it, just
Okay. Yeah.
look left and right. Anyway, so bring your brightness, tone, volume, denseness to so that you can perfectly arm wrestle that stick. Different from the water. It's obviously drier, it's denser, it's harder, it's got more earth. It's sort of at this point entirely earth. It's not probably very dense grains, looks like. But it's all earth there, so it's bringing us into that. Now you've got denser earth in you than it has in it. Your bones, I think, would be denser than that grain. And the enamel on your teeth, although we won't put that to the test. But you have a deeper density within you than that has, so you should be able to find that level of presence, as it were.
It feels quite light, but brittle. There's a sort of, it hasn't got the flowing quality of the plant or the water.
Does it make you feel more substantial in your presence? Matching the stick.
Yes, it does. Not heavy.
Right, but more solid.
Yeah. It sounds slightly contradictory, but
well, it's a light piece of wood, but it's got very well established and hard structure. Just out of interest, go let yourself merge with it and see what is present in its consciousness. Picking up anything there? It may not have much more than residual memories.
I was going to say there's a memory of it feels like it's a memory of not just whatever tree it was connected to, but other trees as well. Like there's like it would be part of the web.
Right.
So it's aware of other trees as well as itself, but also I can feel the sunlight and the warmth and the rain and the wind, and there's still that within it.
Those things that made its beingness. So then come out of the merge, and back to Saira holding a stick.
It was very lovely because you're sort of part of nature, it's a sense of being part of this great dance.
Yes. The danger is that you go away with the fairies.
Yeah.
But as long as you come back for lunchtime, it's fine. Yeah. Just don't forget to feed the children.
I can see how it happens.
Well, because part of that, Sarah, I think, is that the time frame sequence in slicing thing is different.
Yeah.
Plants are hyper aware of time and sunlight more even than we are, but the speed of change for them is slower.
Yes.
And so it's a differently, how many frames per minute.
Yeah.
I think is different, and so time seems to elongate and stretch, and we can. But there's lots of stories about getting lost in Fairyland.
Yes, there are.
But I think it's also our natural capacity, and I think we do, feeling safe and feeling loved and feeling loving. The joy is to immerse ourselves in that consciousness of nature. And so I'm repeatedly saying cautions because I'm aware that people will be listening to us that I don't get a chance to have other conversational coaching with. So personal energetic balance and maintenance and safety is ultimately our key. And my keys to a big part of the Cultivating the Light Body meditation series that I've created is specifically designed for that. So we're here deliberately doing a merge, but there's lots of circumstances where that's safe and desirable, and you're obviously having a lovely time with it. Let's come out of the merge. I think we did that. So we're back to that, and then just establish a point of connection with it, and see if anything comes from just an awareness, a connected awareness of it without emerging. Anything coming from that?
There's a wisp, like it's like a wisp of something disappearing, almost like would the life energy still be leaving it?
I think it could be, and it might even be by your witness that's facilitating it return back into the collective.
Yeah.
Under other circumstances, with another thing in your hand, it might be when you did the connect that you were inspired to make a tool or a piece of art, to notice that it was the perfect porridge stirrer, or just the right piece of wood to keep the door open or the window closed, or the walking stick, or
the sense of sadness as well. The sense of sadness in it. It's obviously been.
It looks like it got snapped off.
Yeah.
It terminated before the natural fulfillment of its potential. All right, let's just disconnect from that. Okay. And again, let's just enter group mind. Again, this isn't probably going to be super different from the previous plant encounter, but just enter the group mind, see where that goes, or what that is.
Yeah, and that feels very expansive, but there's a very rooted quality to it, and it's very slow. It's like a very slow pulse or heartbeat. It's incredibly ancient. It feels there's strength and nobility and a steadfastness. And there's some sadness as well. It wants to work with us.
Again, in that group mind that you're in now, is where we can get the communications.
Yeah.
From that collective consciousness.
Yeah.
As you say, ancient and vast, and guide our minds how we need to be in order to be with that.
I feel like they're wise teachers, and they're waiting for us to go and connect and learn from them. And there's a sadness that we're not doing that.
Everybody loves to be loved, and everybody wants to be communicated with and have their opportunity to be heard and expressed. All right, Sarah. Come back out of that with loving blessings and gratitude for what you were shown and allowed to receive. And then you can come back to that at any time of choosing. All right.
Here we are again.
So I'm just aware of our time here, Sarah. Should we do our last...
our rock.
Our rock. Okay, so obviously we're moving Sarah gradually down the scale of density, because one of our central agendas is to get her to be able to unleash her inner rock at any moment, or unleash her inner waterfall, or her inner fire, or her inner air being, so that she can move up and down that scale of density and elemental balance to perfectly meet her the dance of her day. So this is as dense as we'll get, and I don't know, that obsidian might just be denser than your bone. I don't know. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, it is.
So are we, though. And so's the enamel, although I wouldn't try and bite a piece off that, because it's bigger than your jaw is. That would be dislocating and displacing. But it's a lovely representative of very solid earth, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And I'm thinking obsidian is volcanic glass.
Yeah, it is. It hasn't got a crystalline nature.
Right.
Yeah, it's primal.
It's very primal. It's earth formed through fire. Earth didn't form through fire. So again, as before, let's place that. Maybe switch the bowl of water out for your obsidian. And because if you're or you can hold it, whichever is more comfortable. Yeah.
It might be easier to hold it.
It might be easier to hold it. It puts it nicely on camera. All right. So see if you can meet that without merging to begin with. See if you can just meet the tone and the elemental level of that, accessing the inner part of yourself that is most best attuned to that. All right, what's the report from your inner rock?
Yeah. Gosh, it's very dense.
There's nothing fluffy about that thing.
No.
It's not going to float like dandelion seed across the lawn.
Mm.
In the space that you're in now, what would that be useful for in your life? Feeling as you are now would be good for fill in the blank, if any blank at all.
For rooting, grounding, not being pushed off course, not letting people knock you over with their own emotion or whatever. It helps you to really just, oh, God, absolutely be in your space.
Right. So that's the experience of just bringing your energy balance to that point.
Mm.
Allow yourself to go ahead and gently merge with it. We always want to be a little careful with crystals, a bit like water. They can carry memory and program content from previous and others. So, but to the degree that it feels safe and appropriate and invited and permitted, just allow a merge now and see what it feels like to be that bit of obsidian. Who it is and what it's carrying. What can you share from that place?
I'm feeling the place it came from very strongly. And the ancientness. It's a really ancient energy. Immense strength and pressure. It's fire, and I don't want to go near that. That feels like I shouldn't be going that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very intense
Yeah.
elemental expression. All right, that's lovely. Allowing yourself to come out of merge. That's a good one to have in your inner catalog, I think. Places you can go in your own energy body with thought or desire. So distinct and separate from it, and then just make point of contact and see if there's any communication.
Well,
We're up talking to you.
it wants to be outside.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have it inside with me, and it wants to be outside. So there you go.
Cool.
Right.
It might want to come back in at some point, Sarah.
Yes,
it just needs a breather.
Yeah, it's like it wants to reconnect with the elements.
And so finally, as before, just let go of that direct connection with that one. And go into the group mind of it'll be the same, but it's probably slightly different from the merge with it.
Gosh, that's all high places and low places and deep places. Yeah, and just planet surface. It's gosh, that I mean that's Mother Gaia. There's so many different types of rock. It's all got slightly different tones and colours to it.
All right.
Quite incredible.
We're going to pull you out of there again. You can spend eternity in there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, Sarah.
Mm.
That's beautiful.
Oh.
Well, just for today again, with great gratitude, thanking and blessing, then releasing, bringing yourself wholly back to yourself. Pure, clear, simple, sovereign Sarah.
There's nothing simple about. If only. Oh,
Lovely. All right.
now that is very different. That exercise has just woken up bits of me that was snoozing.
No, thank you for being willing to do that on screen. You could move your camera back up so we can see the top of your aura now, actually. It's lovely. There we go.
There we go.
Dragon dancing with your hair.
Yeah.
No, very simple exercise, very profound, easy to do at home. I find it a very useful, just basic shamanic skills practice.
Yeah.
Awareness.
I feel very connected, very refreshed, there's a clarity in that. It's like it's kind of like cleaned something through. Yeah, great space. And there's the reference points for all of these elements now. That I've got the reference points to go back to quickly. Having established it, it's going to be much easier to, you just recall that feeling and sense and, yeah, vibration, tone.
No, the ease of navigation, familiarity, points of reference, exactly as you described it. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, that was amazing.
Right, Sarah. Thank you for being up, for being our guinea pig. And yes, with care and caution, those watching in, please try.
It's not something to be played with.
No.
It's not something to be played with, but it is very profound and very well worth trying, everyone. Find your connection with all of these elements and living beings. And it's something we can take with us anywhere. So thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
Knocking over my piece of wood. Oh, well, we'll yes. I don't know what to say, to be frank with you. I'm a bit blissed out.
There we go. Time for a cup of tea.
Time for a cup of tea. So, yes, well, thank you for that. And we will reconvene with something else next time round to take people further into this journey. So thank you, Patrick.
Sarah, thank you. Lovely to share the exercise with you today.